Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program. Freed heinous crime convicts under good conduct time allowance system starting to surrender.
Department of Justice will issue ILBOs. That means Immigration Lookout Bulletin Orders para na-monitor ang movements noong subject, no? Whether here or abroad.
Following the President's 15-day ultimatum.
Surrender na kayo to the nearest police or military detachment. If you do not, then beginning at this hour, you are a fugitive.
How is the Philippine National Police tracking them down? And what about those who have left the country? Also, consecutive bomb explosions hit Mindanao.
Tuloy po yung ginagawang mass operation. Nagkaroon po tayo ng intensified checkpoint operation upang sa ganoon nga na posible po nating mahuli itong mga salarin itong pagpapasabog again dyan po sa isulan.
And an update on sedition charges filed against priests and opposition members. PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Bernard Banac joins us live. Thank you for joining us. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ina Andulong. Freed heinous crime convicts released through the Good Conduct Time Allowance system have started surrendering to the authorities after President Rodrigo Duterte's orders. The Good Conduct Time Allowance law is now under scrutiny due to differing opinions on how to implement the law after the unconsummated early release of rape slay convict former Mayor Antonio Sanchez. But what happens if they don't surrender? Let's go straight to the source of the story, PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Bernard Banac. Hi, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Ina, and to all our viewers, good morning.
It looks like this week we will still be talking about a lot about the GCTA law. Can you give us first, sir, an update on the heinous crime convicts who have surrendered? I understand more than 100 na po.
Yes, that is correct, Ina. As of 6 p.m. yesterday or last night, we have already accounted for about 119 of the convicts who were released earlier under the GCTA law, and majority of the number come from the Region 2. And of the number, I think 24 of them have already been escorted to the Bureau of Corrections. So today, the processing continues, and we still call on the other concerned convicts who have been released earlier to voluntarily present themselves and turn in themselves to our police stations nationwide, and we are open to accommodate all of them.
Actually, sir, merong data from 6 p.m. last night. I understand 118. And then this morning, I believe nadagdagan ng isa. But I was reviewing the numbers, sir. I was wondering why the figure for murder nabawasan ng isa from last night, as well as rape, or rather murder and frustrated murder po yata, nabawasan din ng isa. Why the discrepancy in these figures overnight?
Well, maybe this is due to the improper recording, or due to the, getting the information from them. So that might be the reason why there's a discrepancy. But for sure, all of these are being accounted for.
Okay, sir, earlier you mentioned about the processing. There's close to 2,000 heinous crime convicts that we're looking at. So what's going to be the process? Automatic ba talaga they will expect to be returned to prison? Or is there still a possibility that through the possible recommutation of their sentence, posibleng hindi pa rin sila bumalik?
Well, at this point, they need to be accounted for by the Bureau of Corrections, because all of them will have to undergo a review. And if found later that they really deserve to be released, then I'm sure the Bureau of Corrections will release them, and they can enjoy their freedom. But for now, all of them have to be accounted for. They have to return to the Bureau of Corrections so that they will undergo the review process.
But by mere classification, sir, of their crime, they're being considered as heinous crime convicts, which officials are saying are clearly excluded from the GCTA law. Hindi pala siya automatic.
That is right. Their classification is under the heinous crimes. And we will see what will be the result of the review And if they found that they're not qualified after all, then they may have to remain in Bilibid.
Okay, let's play a soundbite from PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde talking about what will happen to those who will refuse arrest.
And if they will resist arrest through, of course, kung talagang lalaban sila, wala tayong magawa. No? This is a normal police operation, serving a warrant, arrest warrant, kumbaga. Kasi kung i-reverse yung may reversal doon sa decision, of course, after 15 days na binigay na grace period for them to surrender, they will already face arrest. No? At kung yan ay may lalaban, wala tayong magagawa. Pero, of course, we encourage them to voluntarily surrender and peacefully surrender na lang.
What does the PNP chief mean when he said, wala na tayong magagawa? Is that, ano ba yun, shoot to kill, sir? If they resist arrest?
Well, as a matter of policy, we have to treat everyone with respect and that we follow the procedure in arresting suspects, and especially in this case, the convicts. What the Chief PNP General Albayalde has referred to is in situations where the persons might put up a violent resistance, and but we're hoping that everyone will just turn themselves in peacefully and orderly, so that no untoward incident may happen.
Okay, I guess the key word there is violent resistance.
That is correct.
If not,
yes.
What could happen? Kunyari, they just really simply don't want to go with arresting officers.
Well, the police officer would have to bodily bring over the person to the police station and have them recorded, and then we escort them to the Bureau of Corrections as soon as possible.
Okay, so it's not a shoot-to-kill order, automatic for those who will resist arrest?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay, sir, the President gave a 15-day period for them to surrender. Nakaka 1 week pa lang tayo. What should we expect after the 15-day period? How aggressive, perhaps, will authorities be in going after those who did not surrender?
Right. After the 15-day grace period that was given, and we expect that to be on September 19. So the following day, we're going to launch our tracker teams to really locate their these convicts and their last known addresses, because there's a possibility that some of them have already moved to another place or relocated. So we will really intensify our manhunt against these convicts. So we are really giving the warning to all the concerned persons, the convicts, to just present themselves voluntarily to the police stations nationwide, and not allow the 15-day period to lapse without having themselves accounted for by the PNP and the Bureau of Corrections.
Sir, could you give us more information about these tracker teams? How capable are they in tracking basically all these heinous crime convicts? Do we have names, addresses? Kumbaga, saan sila mag-uumpisa?
Yes, we do have the list now, and then the last known addresses. So this is going to be distributed to all our police units nationwide, and they're going to identify which of those convicts live in the vicinity of the police station, and that's where they're going to start, and then from there on, they're going to locate the person.
Sir, could a court order at this time stop law enforcers from getting or arresting these heinous crime convicts? Because, kumbaga, at this point, could the convicts seek court intervention? Is that something you're expecting as well?
Well, that is possible, and if there's going to be a court order, then we're going to respect that. In the meantime, in the absence of any intervening order, we're going to follow the instruction of the President.
Recently, House Justice Chairperson Congressman Ching Veloso, we had him here on the show, and he said that kailangan daw ng recommitment order from the court to actually bring them back to prison. Let's play a soundbite of Congressman Ching Veloso.
You are being made only to continue serving the sentence, which was aborted because of your untimely release. They should already arrest these people. If they would resist, they cannot be found, then the court must issue a recommitment order.
What do you say to that, sir? Is that really necessary? Is that something you were going to expect from the court or hindi na?
Well, that is another perspective and point of view. But what the government is following right now is that they have to continue their sentence, and after the 15-day period, and they're not going to be let themselves accounted for and go back to a Bureau of Corrections, they're going to be treated as fugitives. So that means they may be subject now for warrantless arrest. As fugitives, then the law is after them, and it is the mandate of the PNP to get them and bring them back over to the corrections.
Ang sinasabi, sir, kasi officials are now considering their release orders as void ab initio. Ibig sabihin, they were invalid from the beginning. But such an order usually should come from the court also.
Yeah, that's right. And that is why the whole GCTO law is being reviewed, and we are also awaiting for the final outcome of the review. In the meantime, that's the order of the President that they have to be taken back and brought over to the Bureau of Corrections, and the PNP is implementing it.
Okay, we'll be taking a short break first. Later, Philippine National Police back on Metro Manila roads to address traffic. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, PNP spokesperson Bernard Banac. We're still talking about the PNP's efforts to get back freed heinous crime convicts to prison. The DILG, sir, is saying that some have already left the country. What's your plan for those people?
That is a possibility, Ina. There may be some of the convicts have left the country already. And in that case, then if that will be confirmed later that they have really left the country, then we're going to coordinate with the Interpol. We have a very good relationship with our police counterparts abroad. And if so happen that the convicts that we're really running after live in those countries, then our police counterparts in abroad will may be able to help us.
But at this point, sir, do you have an idea on how many of them have fled or have left the country and where they are?
Well, we still have to validate and continue the confirmation with the Bureau of Immigration, and we're still waiting for the 15-day period to lapse. And from there on, then we're going to pursue them and look for everyone.
Okay, before we leave this topic, sir, what biggest challenge do you see in carrying out the President's order to arrest or to rearrest the freed heinous crime convicts?
Well, the biggest challenge right now is to account for each and every convicts that have been released earlier under the GCTO law, and that's 1,900 plus. And but we're glad that some of our convicts have already voluntarily turned themselves in, and that's a good indication. And in the coming days, we hope that many would come and surrender. And we're hoping that we'll be able to comply with the order of the President to account for each and every one of the 1,914.
Sorry, sir. Again, I just realized over the past week, just more than 118 or 119 have surrendered. Medyo small percentage yun dun sa 1,914. How optimistic are you that a significant number will be turning themselves in the next week?
Right. We are positive that many more will surrender in the coming days. Maybe some of these convicts are still thinking it over, and they may want to still enjoy the remaining grace period. So we still have a couple of days left. But you know, we Filipinos, we love to beat the deadline always. So maybe a day before or the day itself during the deadline, they may just, you know, turn themselves in a big number.
But are you expecting a certain figure? Let's say 50% kampante kayo mag-surrender. What are your expectations?
Well, 50% would be a good estimate. If we can have a 50% of the total number, then that would be good. But if more than 50%, then we'll be very happy.
Okay, let's move on now, sir, to another topic. Bombing in Mindanao in Sultan Kudarat. At least 7 people injured in a public market blast yesterday or last night. Can you give us your thoughts? Baka meron ng initial findings on an investigation.
Right. An explosion or a bombing incident happened in Isulan on September 7, and then this was followed by an incident in Indanan Sulu yesterday. So 2 incidents happened one after the other. Our police units there are on full alert. They remain vigilant and alert to thwart any further attacks or incidents like this. We are now in the process of investigating who did this and identify the persons behind this attack. And in the Isulan incident, 8 were wounded. And in this incident in Indanan Sulu, the supposed bomber, we're still identifying the nationality or the identification. Only one died. No, the person himself or herself. So we're not yet sure the exact identification of the person, and the investigation is ongoing.
Okay, let's read first a statement of from the AFP Western Mindanao Command about what happened last night. The suicide bomber was in abaya attire, a woman, and foreign-looking with long hair based on the recovered mutilated head. However, the recovered dismembered hand is similar to that of a man. The trigger mechanism was also recovered. The scene of the crime has been secured and preserved, while SOCO investigation is ongoing as of this report. Now, you mentioned, sir, hindi pa tayo clear doon sa identity. Sabi, based on the recovered mutilated head, it appears to be a woman. However, the dismembered hand na na-recover, mukha daw po sa lalaki. Can you explain to us how this could happen? Ano ang possible scenarios?
There is a possibility that the bomber or the suspect himself was a male and just dressed as a female. And it is also possible that the person has a long hair with the semblance of a female. But as we have said, the body parts that have been recovered, especially the hands, appear to be that of a male. So right now we're in the process of determining the exact gender of the suspect.
How alarming is this, sir? Again, two bombings in a span of just a few days, now a suicide bombing incident. Can you tell us what's the PNP going to do about this?
Well, the AFP and then the PNP are both up to the task, and we have been really on an alert since last year when we had a bombing incident, Holo Bombing Cathedral incident in January 27, and then we had another one last June in an attack in a detachment or headquarters of the Philippine Army in Sulu, I mean. So these 2 incidents again brings us raises the alert status again to full alert status. That means we have to be really alert and vigilant to prevent any more of these incidents. And we call on the people to help us on this because we cannot really do it alone by ourselves. We need the cooperation of the people. We need information for suspects.
Balikan ko lang, sir, yung incident kagabi in Sultan Kudarat. You're saying that the investigation is still ongoing, but the Islamic State is claiming responsibility. You mean we're not taking it as that? We're still investigating. Can you explain to us?
We're not taking it at face value. They normally do that whenever there are bombing incidents caused by an IED. They come out and then claim that they're the ones who did it. But we need to base our conclusions on our investigation. So we're still conducting our investigation to determine who really did this. But we have some suspects. Usually, these are perpetrated by our local communist terrorist group, Abu Sayyaf, and some breakaway groups of the MILF, the BIFF. So those are the suspects that we usually investigate on.
Okay, sir, how would you assess martial law's effectiveness in Mindanao, considering all these developments?
Yes, the martial law implemented in Mindanao has really helped us in terms of maintaining peace and order.
Helpful na siya at
Very helpful.
effective na siya despite all these
Yes.
incidents. That's what you're saying.
That's right, because we have brought down the number of crime incidents all over the island of Mindanao, and we have prevented proliferation of firearms. But insofar as terrorism is concerned, this is really another factor that we really have to focus on, because terrorism is really a different kind of thing. We know whenever there are suspects, terrorists who really want to sow terror and are just waiting for the moment, for the right time to do their terrorist acts, they would really wait for the right moment and to launch the terrorist attack. So, but again, the AFP and PNP are up to the task.
Okay, sir, what do you say to those perhaps questioning the effectivity of martial law in Mindanao? They might say, how can you say that it's effective? Sunod-sunod nga yung mga insidente doon despite it.
Well, we can say that if we don't have the martial law, then we could have more of these incidents. So it is best that we maintain for now martial law, so that we can really bring down, or if not totally eliminate incidents like this.
Okay, we'll be taking another short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, PNP spokesperson Bernard Banac. Just one last question, sir, on yung topic natin on terrorism in the country. Should people in Luzon be worried? Because the last time, I understand a while back, there was an alert memo also advising of possible threats, specifically in northern Luzon, following what happened or the bombing in Sultan Kudarat last night. Ano ba? Should we be worried that they may spill over here?
Well, for us here living in Luzon and Visayas, there is nothing to worry about. Our security here being implemented by the AFP and PNP is very high. And as of now, we have not received any report of any threat of attacks or terrorist activities here in Visayas and Luzon. These incidents, terrorist incidents, are confined in the western part of Mindanao. And we are up to the task to prevent all these possible terrorist attacks. So there's nothing to worry, and we assure the public that we remain on full alert and vigilant to prevent these incidents.
Okay, sir. Now, intel funds of the PNP, of course, you use these, among others, to help deter terrorist activities. 900 million pesos this year, nabawasan ito doon sa proposed 2020 budget, down to 806 million. The PNP chief isn't, medyo disappointed ng konti. He was saying politics played a factor. Can you explain to us, paano ba yan? Now, these bombings, hindi ba mas kailangan yun ng intel funds? Can you tell us your position on that?
Right. We really need the funds for intelligence equipment. So we really have to modernize and upgrade our capability so that we'll be able to really monitor and locate suspects and even possible terrorists who may be roaming around in parts of Mindanao. So in so far as tracking them, we really need high-tech equipment.
Paano yan,
at this
sir?
point.
Binawasan pa? Are you gonna bat for still? Baka pwede pang maihabol na tumaas?
Yes, we're going to make an appeal, and hopefully they would grant our request. In the meantime, if this will not be possible, we really have to make do with what we're going to receive for 2020. But we'll do our best. As a law enforcement agency, it is our mandate to prevent any of these terrorist incidents.
In fact, sir, yung OP naman, Office of the President, actually got a significant increase in its intel funds from this year to the proposed 2020. Are you at least disappointed about that? Did you hope that sana sa PNP na lang diniretso yung intel funds, binawasan yung sa inyo, and then in the OP, almost doubled? That's from 2.5 billion in 2019 to 4.5 billion in the proposed budget next year.
Well, we're not disappointed at all, because the President has always been very supportive of the PNP. In fact, he has already released a big amount of support to the PNP, not only in terms of salaries, but also in procurement of equipment. We have this modernization capability of the PNP, and the President has released a big amount already. So it doesn't matter if the intelligence fund would go to the office of the President, because we can always make our request with the President.
Okay, next topic, sir, traffic. This is not usually asked sa police, but I understand the PNP will be deploying some personnel to help assist in managing traffic in EDSA. Can you tell us more about that?
Right. Starting today, the PNP Highway Patrol Group will now deploy some of its personnel to help the MMDA man the traffic along EDSA, especially enforcement of traffic rules. And we have prepared an all-female traffic patrols also to help us maintain order and discipline along EDSA. You know how heavy the traffic is along EDSA right now. So we are ready to assist the MMDA.
Bakit all female, sir?
Actually, there are still male who will be deployed, but we have specifically prepared a platoon of female traffic patrollers to help us, connect with the public that we are promoting gender equality, and at the same time, we'd like to send a message to all our rogue drivers, along EDSA, especially those drivers of the buses, to be conscious of their conduct, because female are manning the traffic. Female cops are manning the traffic along EDSA, so they should be very respectful and obey the traffic rules.
Briefly, sir, before we go, did these personnel undergo special training? Because usually they deal with crime that's happening on the roads. For traffic?
Yes, they have their own specific training for manning the traffic, and they are all aware of the traffic rules that are being implemented by the NMDA. And this is just a way of us connecting with the public, having all-female traffic patrollers deployed along EDSA, we believe can help us, maintain order and more, traffic discipline, especially that, Filipinos, we are very respectful of our women. So we hope that the drivers would really exercise good conduct.
Okay, thank you very much. PNP spokesperson Bernard Banac. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Ina Andulong. You're watching CNN Philippines.